Alrighty, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to your Mango live stream. Just getting things started here, set it up. We do have a special guest for everyone today. The beautiful, the gorgeous, the Greek goddess herself, Crash Talks. How's it going?
Sean, it never fails to make me blush. How's it going, you guys?
So give us a quick nod or thumbs up on whether the audio is fine. We tried to play around with things because we got some feedback in regards to the audio being a bit mismatched between Kush and me. So before we begin, let's just get everything in order. Today, by the way, we're going to be talking about some really important things in regards to how we should be positioning leading into the rest of this month. And a lot of it is going to be things that you guys are going to love to hear. And some of it is going to be things that you may not like to hear, but you should hear. So today's live stream is going to be important. Maybe all over the place. I'm counting on you guys to keep me on track because you guys know how I run wild with my tangents and my thoughts. So don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't hesitate to say, hey Sean, hey Sean, hey Sean, you were talking about XYZ. Let's get back there. Right? Krisha's here for just that actually today. So it's Krisha's a bit of echo on my side when Sean talks. Oh, so Krisha, wait.
I don't hear an echo. Then again,
let's see.
Sean, check the other mic.
How's this? Because I think I may have had two audio streams running at the same time.
You're gonna have to say a little more.
Okay, I don't know. Good morning. Is the echo still? It sounds like Sean's speaking out of water. Oh God, we can never catch a break. We tested things too. Krisha, do I sound fine to you?
You do, but I'm speaking to you on but we're on a different application, right? I mean, I'm not.
Let me see. Oh, I think I know what may be happening.
Is there any other input that you might have to fix?
Could be. Alrighty, how about now, guys? This should fix it.
Okay,
Yeah?
there we
Awesome.
go.
So it's a good thing we did
Yay!
the check.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. You guys are so patient. I love it. I love this community. You guys are awesome.
Good morning. Waz, how's it going, buddy?
And also, guys, hit the likes. Believe it or not, goes a very, very long way for each and every live stream. So smash some likes. And also, hey, you get
your
the
likes
giveaway
are,
too.
yeah, exactly. The likes are what release the giveaway, trigger the giveaway, activate the giveaway. $1,000. So we did do the $1,000 giveaway last time. You guys should be. Krisha, did you announce that, by the way? I think you did, right?
Absolutely, I did.
Yeah.
I announced it on the daily video, the previous live stream. For all those of you who won, you should have received your rewards in your accounts. Exciting!
Yeah, so $1,000 given away straight into your Bitunix account. All you need to do is within the 24 hours of the live stream, hit the like button and deposit at least 50 into the Bitunix link underneath, right? Just 50, and you get to win up to $1,000. So last time we gave away, there were 5 winners in total. Next time there might be more, right? So the giveaway will kind of pile up as well. So we'll do more giveaways and increase it as time goes on. All right, Kusha, just take the stage for a bit. I'm just gonna set up a few charts so we can begin.
Alrighty. So first off, how's everyone feeling about the markets? I want to get a general gauge on sentiment right now. Maybe we can do a poll. How about a poll? Do you think I'm very bad at these polls, but you know, general gist, right? It's always about the general gist. I'm seeing like a mix of feelings out there. All right, yeah, it's a very general poll, but it's going to help me understand where sentiment is at. Are people feeling bullish? Are people feeling bearish? Ben says we got a big fat red candle, did we? That's not, you guys are being dramatic. That's not even close to a big fat red candle. Okay, yeah, on the 1 hour, it's a big fat red candle. That's like engulfing, right? But you know what? Every time you get like spooked out on these moves, just zoom out, okay? That's always like the number one saying that you find in crypto, right? That's one of the few first ones you come across is when in doubt, zoom out. Because the volatility, I feel like, in the crypto space can really, really get to traders. So this applies, you know, 10x here.
Guys, I'm just gonna jump into it. F it. Ben says it's the
Sean,
big red candle. I gotta go see what's going
Sean,
on.
a bit low for me compared to Krisha. Max volume on my AirPods.
Wait, is that for everyone or are we?
Is that only for Tim or is that for everybody? Is Sean's volume okay?
It's the same. I mean, guys, you're confusing us. Oh, Sean very soft. Okay.
Children of the Light, no, we're aware. Sean is just preparing some charts for you guys, so he's got everything organized. That way, you know, it's just drama. Actually, no, for me, it's drama. For Sean, it's like info. And a lot of golden nuggets. You guys know Sean.
Ooh, I think
He always comes with his blades sharp.
Krisha just gives me way too much credit.
Everyone's saying that I'm louder than you. Guys, this is the reality. Okay, even in real life, I am louder than Sean. Just, he's so fed up. You guys are just gonna have to get used to it now.
Alrighty, how about now, guys? How about now? Alrighty, this was great. On the fly troubleshooting. I'm getting good at this.
Woohoo!
Alrighty.
But we love you guys for being so patient. Alrighty, 70 people watching, guys. There's a $1,000 giveaway.
Good morning. Good morning, Krisha. I had to cut you off.
Well, my bad. Sorry.
So today, when I'm going to see Krisha's gorgeous face, unfortunately, unless she wants to come in here and grace us with her presence. But we're going to try to focus on the audio instead today. Why am I showing my BitGet? Right over here. Let's go on to trading view. Okay, guys. Today we are going to be all over the place. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin, of course, on the high time frames as well as on the lower time frames. And we don't do that often over here at Mango, so you guys should be paying attention. I'm going to give you guys my mindset, how I am positioning, what I'm looking for. We aren't at an easy juncture at all, okay? But it could be a very profitable juncture. It's very easy to manage. It's not easy in regards to the mindset, for sure, but it's easy in terms of execution. Okay. Speaking of execution, there's a new feature expansion on the Mango Dynamic that is officially released. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now. I made the big announcement on Discord yesterday. If you guys are on the Discord, make sure to check it out because there's a thread that fully explains it, right? The features, etc., etc. I do strategy examples. Maybe I can pull it up over here really quick, but I'm just going to jump into it. I'm going to break it down for you guys live in today's stream, and we have Krish over here to ask questions. That way, if she has any questions, she can ask as well. We did go over this as well in detail in today's Seed Clubhouse session. So for you seedlings, if you missed the session, make sure to watch it. We also had a great discussion on, again, the entire market environment and how I'm looking at things and how we should be positioning on the grand scheme of things. We're going to go over not all of that today in today's live stream, but some of it, and also other things that I wasn't able to talk about during the Seed Clubhouse session. So Krisha, are you ready to begin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Don't hesitate to interrupt me at any point if you have any questions. Today, we're going to be explaining and revealing the Mango Dynamic version 5 with the all new added position manager with the entry zone module right over here. Now, the way it's built, guys, is that it allows me to extend it and add even more features. In fact, there were more features added onto this, but after brainstorming with Krisha a tad bit, she was like, you know what, Sean, maybe hold off on adding everything at the same time, and we can stagger the release of features, because that way people who are currently using the Mango Dynamic and new folk as well are not too overwhelmed by multiple features thrown at them together. And more importantly, guys, one of the most powerful things about the Mango Dynamic was its simplicity. How gorgeous it was and powerful at the same time, because it was so simple to use, right? So for example, right over here, if we go ahead and turn off the new feature, you can see that the Mango Dynamic on its own, right? The older version, just clean. It didn't need anything special whatsoever to make massive gains. We've used it the same way across multiple coins, not just Bitcoin. We use it for SUI, etc., etc. We've used it in its rawest form, right? Now, we will extend it, and we are extending it, right? But those of you who do want to use it in its rawest form, you guys can just turn off the module here, the position manager module, right? With its entry zone checkbox right over here. Now, with that being said, I want to emphasize that the way this was intended to be used is not as this feature was added on more so to improve your execution and reduce the stress, basically eliminate the stress of putting on your trade, the actual execution part of your trade. Because many of you know that, and a strategy can be extremely powerful, but executing that strategy can be very, very daunting at the time, right? When the market is moving really fast, or the market is extremely volatile, things don't go according to plan. So that's what this was intended for. Now, that being said, you're going to see that there's a lot of edge beyond its intended use, and we'll talk about that too. But I'm going to start with explaining its intended use, and then we can maybe discuss how else you can use it. But the reason I want to start off this, guys, is because I want you guys to know that go ahead and experiment with this indicator, okay? Experiment with the new features. Go wild with it. Go ahead and backtest, forward test, and let me know what you find too. I've already been finding some really, really powerful things that we can do with this beyond its intended use. It is surprising me as well. This has just gotten, as powerful as the dynamic already was, it's already getting that much more powerful, right? It's getting now 10x more powerful. So I'm very, very excited and surprised myself with what we have now in our hands. So let's go ahead and start with its intended use. Kusha, any questions before I begin?
No, I'm gonna first let you begin, and then I will ask questions.
Okay, awesome, cool. Now, again, like I mentioned, right over here, we have the position manager, and it's exactly what it states. It helps you manage your position, it helps you get into position, helps you exit your position, depending on whether your market direction at the moment is set to you being bullish. So you're looking to buy if you're bullish, right? You're not looking to sell if you're bullish, or you're bearish, and at that point you'll be looking to sell, right? So at the moment we're going to set it to buying. Okay, we are bullish on the market, so we are looking to buy. What's going to happen when you do that is that you're going to get two levels marked out for you: a start bidding zone right over here, and a start bidding level, and essentially a end bidding level. That will essentially mark out a zone for you within which you can buy, where you're allowed to buy. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's go ahead and walk through a example. We're going to start with the common situation where you get into a trade, right? So we're going to go all the way back over here. This is a really good example that we covered in the seed clubhouse too. Okay, let's say you're waiting very patiently. Okay, a good way to start actually is to keep this turned off. Okay, you're waiting very patiently for Bitcoin to turn bullish. Okay, you're ignoring everyone else. You're ignoring everything out there. You're keeping it very simple, and you're like, I'm just going to use the Mango dynamic for the activation of my bullish bias until the Mango dynamic gives me confirmation. Okay, the keyword over here is confirmation that we should be turning bullish. I'm not looking to buy at all. Okay, this is a really good example, guys. Okay, going back in time, this is a really good example. You guys are gonna see how the psychology of all of this plays a huge role in how you get into position and how you may not get into position if you don't prepare for the psychology to come and screw you out of not getting into position. So let's say you were watching price throughout this entire period. Okay, and you're like, okay, there are some analysts like Sean saying, I'm going to start scaling into position. I think I'm bullish. I'm getting bullish, etc., etc. There are other people who are also getting bullish, but I'm not buying it. I don't care what they're saying. I'm just going to follow the Mango dynamic, and it's only when the Mango dynamic gives me my confirmation I'm going to flip bullish, right? So you're essentially waiting for price to claim the Mango dynamic. So this entire region over here where we were rejecting against the Mango dynamic. Yes, we claimed the bottom of it, but we did not claim the Mango dynamic. You're essentially saying, nope, I'm not buying. I'm going to be patient. Okay, completely fine. Respect you for that. You are following a simple rule-based system, which is what Mango loves. We want you to do that. You should be doing that. That's what keeps things objective. It doesn't matter what the banks are doing, what Jerome Powell is doing, what Biden was doing at the time. None of it mattered. All that mattered was, do we claim? And you stayed disciplined for all these bi-weekly candles, months on end. You stayed disciplined, and then you get the massive candle right over here. Okay, now in hindsight, right now this doesn't look all that big, but at the time it was a huge candle, and you're like, oh damn, that's it. We just closed a bi-weekly about the Mango dynamic. Should I start buying now? Should I start buying? It's a struggle. Okay, when you get that confirmation, when you waited weeks and weeks, and now you finally get that confirmation, you're like, oh damn. I had all this time to buy at lower prices. I had time to buy at the bottom of the Mango dynamic. Should I be buying over here? Should I now be buying at around $30,000 when just a few weeks ago price was sitting at 26? Hell, a few weeks ago prior to that price was sitting at $19,000 too at a time, right? Now should I be buying all the way at 30,000? Will I be buying the top? You're struggling. You don't know whether you should be waiting for price to come down or not. Should I wait for it to come down to my level? Because my level is all the way down here, right? Should I wait for it to come a tad bit down, or should I just buy here? That is a struggle that every trader / investor goes through. Like if you're playing the bi-weekly, you can look at this as an investment, right? A long-term cyclical investment for like 2 years, 1 year, maybe 4 years. So it doesn't matter whether you're a trader or an investor. That idea of whether you should wait for the price to pull back or not is a struggle. Now, however, we have an objective way to decide whether we are allowed to buy. Because adding something that allows you to absorb your responsibility reduces stress. If you can just say, you know what, my indicator tells me that I should start buying, or my indicator tells me that I am not allowed to buy, you have reduced your stress. Your decision-making fatigue reduces drastically. And most of this game, guys, is that. Just being able to say, I'm following my rules, it doesn't matter what you're saying, right? People come up to me all the time, throughout this entire cycle. You guys know this. Throughout this entire cycle, people have been arguing with me throughout. They argued with me over here, they argued with me over here, they argued with me over here. How, you guys have seen it. And what did I say to them? I'm like, yeah, man, you could be right, but my rules are telling me to buy. My rules are telling me to sell. Rules are telling me to buy. My rules are telling me. That's all I say. Like back over here too, guys, during this phase, right? As soon as we lost the monthly 10 SMA, and then we went on to lose the bi-weekly dynamic too, etc., etc. It was just like, yeah, guys, I know you might be bullish, but Mango has to turn bearish. So having an objective way to, now this was to like turn bearish or bullish, right? That's easy. But what about when you're entering into a position, you're building a position? We need something objective for that. Right? We need something objective for that. So how do we do that? Well, that's where the position manager helps. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on right over here. Show entry exit zones. Now, you guys can see that when we got the candle, got the big candle, price was shooting above the zone. So these annotations over here, start bidding, end bidding, they would have been marked out over here at the time, right? Now, because price has moved and we are away from that level, we aren't sure. It's not being marked out, but at the time it would have been marked out over here and over here. So at the time, the position manager, the Mango dynamic would be telling you, no, do not buy, wait for price to come back into the level, come back into the zone, come back into equilibrium, right? So you would have been saying, okay, I want to buy here, my feelings are telling me I should be buying, or maybe you did not want to buy. Maybe because you're so used to being disciplined for the weeks prior to this, for the months prior to this, your instincts were telling you don't buy, right? And now you have permission to not buy, okay? You have permission to say, yeah, I have permission to wait. I have permission to wait. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Do you have permission to wait, or are you being asked to buy by your system? Over here, your system, okay, the Mango dynamic was telling you, yeah, you can wait because you're too far away from your level. Albeit not all that far, but far away. Now, as soon as it stuck its head down over here, you can see the wick. That is enough for you to say, okay, I'm allowed to buy within the zone. Yes, it closed above, and as soon as it closes above, you're not allowed to buy there. So let's say you show up to your computer and the wick was within the zone, but then closed above or price above, you're not allowed to buy. Because remember, you can't be at your computer for the entire bi-weekly candle, right? You're going to be sleeping, you're going to be at work, you're going to be at school, you're going to be spending time with your family. So you may have missed this wick. And then price bounces. That doesn't matter. Your rules are telling you, don't buy. You missed it, don't buy, wait. Well, guess what? The next bi-weekly, you got a chance to buy, right? Next bi-weekly, underneath here, you got a chance to buy. And you're scaling and knowing that you're allowed to buy all the way down to here. And only there. No buy should come underneath there. For example, right over here, right? Let's say price came down. You see this wick over here? You would not be allowed to buy. You'd be allowed to buy only up to here. And then if it goes underneath, nope, not allowed to buy, right? Because sometimes people get carried away with buying underneath a level and they'll go deep. And suddenly, before they know it, they over leverage. So this now gives you a boundary on how deep you can keep buying the dip. You can't just keep buying the dip anymore, guys. Okay, this will keep you grounded, draw a perimeter around buying the dip. Once it goes, doesn't matter whether the price closes, hasn't closed yet, right? If it goes underneath, don't buy. Okay. Similarly, it works the other way, where if you dip from above into it, you're allowed to buy. Okay, even if price hasn't closed yet. So now again, price dipped right into the level, you're allowed to buy and accumulate this entire zone, right? As soon as we short out over here, stop buying, and now wait. and you have captured this entire trend, right? So the idea is, as long as you're within the zone, you're allowed to scale into your position. As soon as you shoot above, you have to sit back and say, I'm not allowed to buy. You can see how well it worked. By the way, guys, this is a system that I have been using, but I used to do it manually, right? Now, you guys no longer need to do it manually. I don't need to do it manually. And more importantly, what has come out of this is strategies that I did not expect. So we'll talk about that very, very soon as well. But yeah, right over here, you guys can see that. Go on, Kusha.
So this is going to help with the two extremes of people right here. This is going to help with the breakout traders, people who just pounce in on the breakout irrespective of just how much is broken out. You know, you're just sort of, it's like shooting darts with the blindfold on, just hoping that the breakout works in your favor. Okay, it curtails you guys, and it also curtails the buy the dip bros. You know, we have a certain segment of people who are called the buy the dip bros. They just keep buying the dip.
Exactly.
Turns into a downtrend.
Yeah.
Okay, but they are busy buying the dip. So what this is going to help with now is going to help you really draw, like Sean mentioned, a perimeter that draws a line for you, telling you where the dip ends. Okay, and also it draws a line for you as to how far of a breakout should you be okay with. Because after that, it's a stupid trade. It's a risky trade. You know, prices can pull back, and now suddenly you're sitting in losses. But Sean, even to everything that you're explaining, now this is something that Mark had brought up in today's mastermind call. Seed mastermind call, guys, it happens every Thursday. If you're in the seed program, be there. What are you doing? But to that question, Fahad, who is also, I believe, Fahad, you just joined the seed program, if I'm not wrong. He said, do we treat the mango dynamic as a support resistance or as a price magnet? Now, this actually goes to Mark's question as well, right? To where Mark asked you, he said, okay, Sean, you know what? You wouldn't use this new objective zone as you're saying that you wouldn't really use it as support and resistance. But if you're looking at it, I mean, just look at the screen that you have right now, right? It's been respecting it even as support and resistance.
Yeah. So that's what I did want to talk about after I finished explaining its intended use, with how surprised I was with the other uses of this new feature. Now, its intended use was to help with your execution, right? To streamline your execution, to reduce the stress of execution, to make sure that you don't miss those positions, to make sure that you get those entries, to make sure that you don't hold on to bad entries, to make sure that even when you're exiting positions, it's a lot easier, because I'm going to show you guys examples of that as well. But while I was backtesting this and forward testing, I was like, holy crap, this works in multiple ways that I did not expect it to. Because remember, guys, I used to do this manually, and I did not have it automated. What made me, just to give you guys some context, right? What made me finally say, you know what, I gotta automate this. Because this is too useful of a feature that has really worked out in my favor so many times. Because this is a personal system that I use and I have been using, and I used it during this phase too. I used it during this phase too. Now during this phase, right, when I used it, that's when I'm like, I should consider automating this because it worked out so well for me. Because guys, think about it. Okay, during this phase, when let's go through an actual. Let's go through the mindset of how things played out over here. And I'm sure many of you, or most of you who traded during this environment, or who are watching the markets during this environment, you guys went through this, okay? I'm going to explain the mindset, and you guys are going to be like, yep, that's exactly what I went through. Let's say price came down to the bi-weekly dynamic, okay? And you have this guy with curly hair coming on live stream and saying, guys, it's the mango dynamic. Buy it, buy it, buy it. But you're hesitating. You're like, what if this breaks? Like, price is moving really fast, right? Price is moving really fast, and there's a big red candle. Because picture this candle at the time, guys. Picture this candle at the time, fully red. Don't forget this wick over here. This happened after, right? After the candle closed. But at the time, when it was at its lowest, there was a huge red candle and we're sitting underneath, right? And you're like, you know what? I'm going to wait to see how this closes. I'm not going to buy here. I'm going to wait to see how this closes, or I'm going to wait for some strength. You make an excuse or the other. And you know what? Fine. Legit, right? We had a lot of uncertainty there. We didn't know who was going to be the United States president of the world, blah, blah, blah. United States president of the world. It's true, though. But you wait for the candle to close, and then you're like, God damn it. we just bounced a good 20%. Should I buy there? Or should I wait for it to come down a tad bit more? And then the next bi-weekly, you see that, oh no, it's bouncing even more, right? So now it's gone up another 8%. So it's now 25% away from this level that you could have bought. And even though that's irrelevant, we can't help but bench as human beings, right? We love to bench against what we could have got, right? And that hesitation causes price to rally even more, right? Because you don't know whether you should buy or whether you should wait for price to come down a tad bit more. So you come on to Discord, you come on to the live stream, they're like, hey, should I buy now or should I wait, right? Now you can just say, hey, I'm within the zone, I'm just going to buy. Even this wick over here, it didn't matter that we bounced so much because we're within the zone, we just buy. Right? So you avoid the pain of that psychology because you're allowed to buy. It's just about, do I have permission to buy based on my rules? Period. Same story over here. This is what finally convinced me, guys. I'm like, okay, I got to get this done because I started the process, etc., but never finished it, right? Over here, I was building a position and I was a bit hesitant while building this position. So it took me a bit longer to build my position compared to how fast I usually build my position. This time around, because I was building a thicker position and a little bit later into the cycle, right? I was like, man, I'm watching price. Like when it was all the way down here, I was very happy to buy, right? But while it was rallying, I was like, should I buy? And again, when I did it all down manually, I'm like, I'm allowed to buy. I'm allowed to buy all the way up to 89,000. Right? And guys, there's a big difference between what we went all the way down to 74,000. Again, congratulations, Bully, for freaking catching the goddamn bottom to 89,000. Psychologically, that is a huge difference buying between 74 and 89. But according to the system, it's no difference. You're allowed to buy. And look at how it played out in hindsight, right? Because price is sitting at 104,000, right? Same story over here. You were allowed to buy all the way between 53 and 63. At the time, 10,000 felt like everything, right? But in hindsight, we're 2x up because you followed the system, right? Now, that's just one example of when price comes down to a level and bounces. There's another way you can use this. Sometimes price may not come down to your level, right? But you are wondering whether I should buy or not. And now you guys know that most recently we used this on the 2-day with Bitcoin. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up right over here. Now, this is an example of This is a multi-dimensional example, actually. You guys are going to see why. Bitcoin on the 2-day did not come all the way down to the 2-day dynamic level. And how often has this happened to you guys where price comes slightly close to your level, but not quite, and you're like wondering, should I buy or should I wait for it to come down to my level? And then you see that price kind of front runs your level and just runs away, right? Or you're just like, I'm going to buy here, and you end up buying too far away from your level. You buy somewhere around here and then comes down lower. You don't know when to buy. When you're hunting for higher or low, especially as a trend trader, you just don't know when to buy. And now this is not just, for those of you who don't even care about the dynamic, this is something that you guys should be listening to if you guys are trend traders. Because as a trend trader, you are trading always the high lows, right? You're looking to buy the high lows. The thing though is you don't know where the high lows are going to come. They could be deeper or they could be shallow. They could be deeper or they could be shallow. You don't know. You need an objective way to decide. Am I allowed to buy here or should I wait for it to come down lower, right? So this is where it helps, where you're like, okay, you know what? It's not come down to my level entirely, but it's hit the start bidding zone. The start bidding level, because remember, if you do not have the module turned on, the position manager turned on, it looks like it's not touched at all, right? But now, if you turn it on, you can see that, hey, we got a test. So over there, you are allowed to get your first position in. So now if price does run away, I'm not stressed. I'm like, you know what? Let it go, because I got a tad bit of a position in, and I'm happy with it. At least I'm not positionless. But if price comes down, I can buy, because I'm allowed to buy all the way down to this level here, end bidding at 97,920. Now that does two things, guys. It lets me know that I shouldn't be going gung-ho at the start bidding level, right? But still lets me get into the trade, while still saying, Sean, you got to buy one more over here, and you got to buy one more over here. So keep some gunpowder, because price could come all the way down here. You're only going to stop bidding here. So if you don't have gunpowder for 97,000, Sean, you're going to feel like ass, right? So this does that too for your psychology. Allows you to get in, but not get in too early, because guys, think about it. What this is doing is, let's say you wanted to buy over here, right? and you're like, you know what, this isn't all that far away. Okay, I'm kind of close to my level. 3.7%, not all that bad. But that's where your psychology has tricked you. Because you want to get the position so bad, what you have done is ignored the fact that you need to be okay with price coming all the way down to 97,000. It's not 102 where your invalidation is. Your invalidation is all the way down at 98. So if you get an entire position over here, thinking, oh, it's only 3% away, it's not a big difference. I'm a trend trader. I'm going to hunt the high low over here. By the way, it's like that's what a lot of newbie trend trader, new trend traders, amateur trend traders, they make this mistake, right? Deeper into a impulsive move like this, they look for a shallow move, which could happen, but is rare. So again, over here, you could protect against that by having something objective. Objectively, it's telling you that this is only where you start bidding. So if you buy here, you have to be okay with a drawdown all the way to this level, which is 8.2%, right? Now, on leverage, that can hurt. That can really hurt. Because remember, you're trading the 2-day time frame, right? This is not bi-weekly. So bi-weekly, we don't use leverage. At least I don't. Here, you want to use that. I mean, you don't. I use leverage. Do whatever the hell you guys want to. Right? This is not financial advice. But yeah, this is what helps you helps you with making sure that you don't position too early, making sure that when it does come down to your level, if it's close enough to get into position. Any questions before I go on, Kusha?
No, I think you've covered it all. I've linked the dynamic, by the way, in the chat. So for those of you who are looking into it, that's where you can find it. But if you just have more questions, get into the Discord chat. You're going to find it on the mangoweight.com/discord. You can come in there even to just have fun. Okay?
Yeah.
I feel like in these markets right now, people need communities, good communities. So we got some solid people in there. So jump in.
Yeah, and
Sean,
and to answer your question, Kusha, in regards to using it as support and resistance, and this is what Mark asked as well, and this is really really perceptive of him as well when he noticed this during the live stream. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you guys an example of the bear side of things, and we can use that as. So let's say, for example, should I do? You know what? Let's go back down to the 2-day time frame. Okay. Let's say during this phase over here, you can see that price lost the mango dynamic. Okay, it works over here too. Jesus, but let's just say we're using it for its intended use. Let's say we're using it for its intended use, and we are going to be using the mango dynamic for our market direction. Okay, and we're going to be using the position manager only to enter or exit. What you'll be doing, guys, is essentially as soon as we lose the mango dynamic, you say, okay, I'm no longer looking to buy, I'm looking to sell. So you switch this to selling. Okay, so you're either shorting or you're exiting out of your spot trades. So you could, by the way, just because you're selling to sell doesn't mean you can use it only for shorting, right? You could also go short your core allocation, short your spot position. So you could be selling some spot if that's what you want to do. Okay, so now it works the same way, guys, where essentially you're allowed to sell as long as you're within the zone. So you guys can see that you got this move down all the way here. This is too late to sell. You're not allowed to sell anymore. So basically price would be, rather the indicator would be telling you, nope, no longer allowed to sell. So you just got to wait now. If you want to short into the mango dynamic, you have to wait to come back in the zone. And right over here into this candle, you got that opportunity. Over here, you got that opportunity. And this entire area here, you weren't allowed to sell. Over here, you're allowed to sell. Over here, you're allowed to sell. So as long as you're within the zone, you are allowed to sell. Now, right over here, you guys can see that we reclaimed the mango dynamic, right? So if you're using it for its intended use, you should be going and setting this to buying, right? You switch it to buying, and now you follow the system the other way, right? So this is telling you something, that this module can be used with your other systems. For example, you could just say, you know what? I don't care about the mango dynamic. I'm not going to use the mango dynamic for my invalidation, but I'm going to use this system, right? I'm going to use the position manager for my positioning. So basically, you're going to be using some other indicator, whatever you guys want, for your market direction. And if that indicator, that system tells you, okay, you should start selling, then you can use the mango dynamics features just to get into position or get out of position, or start buying, right? Depends on what you want to do. But again, just keep it simple. Use the mango dynamic for market direction. Now, many of you guys may have been noticing that you could literally just use the position manager as support and resistance. And that's what you're talking about, right, Krisha?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's working over here too. As you guys can see that during this entire phase here, price respected the mango, the position managers levels. In fact, if you go ahead and switch on over to the bi-weekly and switch to selling again, you guys can see that during this entire zone over here too, during the top of the previous market, this is the kind of thing that I've been noticing too. Like it's been so good, guys, as acting as a zone of support and resistance, a trend zone. If that's how you guys want to go ahead and use it, by all means, it seems to work really, really, really well. For example, right over here, you guys can see that as soon as we broke, we started trending. And this is something we went into depth in today's C Clubhouse session, where, in my opinion, the best way to use this is a combination of its intended use and as well as a breakout trader, right? So if you want to go ahead and use turtle strategy, Richard Dennis, this entire thing, what you could be doing is initially start off by being extremely disciplined, okay, and building your position according to the rules. You want to be building your position. Like let's say you're going short, guys. Okay, you're going short in the top of the previous bear market. By the way, even though the top was 69, you guys can see now how in hindsight, even if you sold around 44, it was a great trade, right? So never ever think that you need to nail the top perfectly, because it's completely fine to wait for the trend to be established and then get in, because you could catch a big move regardless. Going back to topic, what you could be doing, stay conservative. And this works, in my opinion, especially in crypto, only if you follow the mango principles first and then you go aggressive and try to Richard Dennis this kind of move. But I'll walk you guys through it. We're going to stay conservative and we're going to follow the base rules, where you only go short if you are within the zone. Okay, so all these pokes outside, not allowed to sell, not allowed to put any sell positions, not allowed to go short your co-allocation. You wait patiently, and as long as you are, so for example, right over here, right, when you got the first breakdown, right, you could say, okay, you know what, I'm going to sell. I'm going to start selling here a tad bit. But you don't sell the whole thing, because you're like, I don't know if this is a fake out, right? I don't know if this is a fake out. Maybe we could claim back above. You guys could have a little bit more of a core system, right, that you want to follow, or you could just have it a little bit more free form, the way I like to build a position on these higher time frame levels, right? So let's say we're following a system that I would follow, right? Again, we're going to keep it simple. You sell a little bit over here. You wait for the next bi-weekly. You're like, oh, damn, price is now moving away. Should I sell? Should I sell? Should I sell? And you turn on your system, and your system's like, oh, you know what? I'm still within the zone. I'm allowed to sell. Only up to around here. As soon as you wick down here, not allowed to sell. I'll be patient now. Wait for the next bi-weekly. Come back up here. You can sell this entire bi-week. You sell all of these bi-weeklies, right? As long as you're within the zone. And then you get the breakout. Once you get the breakout, think about it, you build a short position throughout this entire phase, guys. And now you got the breakout. Only if you built a good position and you're now padded in deep profits, do you play this as a breakout, okay? Because what I'm noticing is after a zone like this, where you have so much time to accumulate, these breakouts have a high chance of seeing massive continuation. It also worked, guys, if you go ahead again. Now remember, over here, you're switching long, right? So we have to switch over here, buying. You can see how well it worked out during this phase 2. We drew distance away from the zones as soon as we had a breakout, and worked recently too, where you would have been accumulating for a few weeks, few bi-weeklies, so that would have been months, and then as soon as you got a breakout, seeing continuation. So you can play it as a support and resistance zone along with a breakout strategy as well. Do you understand what I'm saying, Krisha?
Yeah, I think it's looking good. In fact, right now, Sean, if you just get onto like current price action, you can see how you can use this for the current breakout that we're seeing. Not the breakout, but we can see that price has sort of broken out of, let's say, the critical sort of, we're living over the dynamic range right now, and it appears that we're coming back for that retest. Do you see that?
So what time frame are we talking about? For example, on the 12-hour, I'll be looking at this as a short trade, right?
Yeah, right. So I'm looking at the daily right now.
Yeah, the daily right? The daily is looking really good, right? For
daily. Sorry, I'm looking at the higher time frames, 2-day to the weekly. Like we're all on that objective zone right now.
Yeah, so anything above the 12-hour is on for Bitcoin. you're within the zone.
Right.
So it's
So what
only
are
the
your thoughts on this 12-hour? Like the way it's shaping out relative to the objective zone? So would you say that it's so right now the 12-hour, safe to say that we got a bearish tilt on there?
Yeah, so now we can start dissecting what's actually going on with the charts, and I think it's a apt moment, because I honestly expected this 12-hour to see continuation towards the downside like a while ago, right? The fact that Bitcoin is kind of holding is kind of surprising. That's not to say that it won't give way, but this should have given way like maybe around here, right? We should have seen something like that. Now this could still happen, but it's a tad bit surprising, because if we go on over to let's open up a new chart here. Okay, what I'm going to do is open up SUI USDT. Now SUI has been one of the stronger coins, right? And you can see that SUI has lost its forget the 12-hour, right? SUI lost the 2-day dynamic recently, right? While Bitcoin, on the other hand, is still holding the daily, right? And of course, I'm going to switch back to long. Because it's holding the daily, we can surmise that it's holding the 2-day as well. Meanwhile, a stronger coin like SUI has lost its 2-day very, very clearly and is now beginning to consolidate around it. Bitcoin is still holding the daily. So I think that the bears are on a clock at the moment where they need something to happen over here, because the fact that they haven't even claimed the daily time frame on is eventually the shorts that are piling up over here are going to feel pressure. And if you start seeing candle closes above 106.864, you're going to see a big move back to the top of the range at around 111. Now, on top of that, guys, okay, keep in mind, the Mango Dynamic over here is still setting in high lows. Like price against the Mango Dynamic is setting high lows. You're not even wicked underneath to tap these lows. So if you go ahead and look at RSI, on the other hand, you guys can see that the RSI is putting in lower lows, right? Lower highs and lower lows. So you have massive divergence in structure between what is going on with price and the RSI. Look at the stochastics too, Krisha. We are literally bottomed on the stochastics, right? And the last time we had this kind of test of the stochastics at the bottom, we did have that next big impulsive move. So we have divergence playing out on the daily while we're holding. It's not just divergence, right? It's divergence right upon the Mango Dynamic on the daily. And this is coming in on a backdrop where all coins are losing levels and Bitcoin is not losing levels. At one point, okay, all coins are also gonna be kind of exhausted with their selling. The market is going to be exhausted with the selling. And SUI, while it's lost its 2-day dynamic, is sitting on bi-weekly dynamic support, right? So you can't fade that. Sorry, apologies. What's going on here? You can't fade that either. So yeah, SUI lost the 2-day dynamic. But at one point, the higher time frame traders are going to come in and say, okay, you know what? I think this is a good level to be buying, because it is a bi-weekly level after all. So again, keep in mind though, guys, SUI is bi-weekly level. The end bidding zone comes all the way down to 2.53. And if you guys think that we can't wick down there and close above, go ahead and take a look at these two candles. We've already done it 2 months, right? So we did it in the month of Feb. No, wait, this was all 1 month, right? So we did in the month of Feb twice. So keep an eye out for that kind of move. Either way, remember, bullish divergence on Bitcoin will not be triggered until we actually start seeing candles, or rather a high above 106.947, right? So that's when I'll actually look for the bullish divergence on the daily time frame. We need to take out that high there, and that could actually take us all the way to 111,000.
Nice. And I agree. I feel like that the 12-hour, the bears need to see follow through. Otherwise, they're under some immense pressure. Like as a bear, if you were short, you'd be feeling a bit uncertain right now. When price is hesitating, everything, price is living underneath your regions of support that it broke. As a bear, you'd want to see that follow through, almost like, hey, it's the next most probable setup, the next leg to the downside. When price hesitates after a region of support is broken, I think we all know how we feel, right? Especially when you're short, you're just like, well, is it going to go down anytime now? Come on, Bitcoin, anytime now.
Exactly.
So you can see that the bears they are likely going to start feeling the pressure right here, right now. And if price starts ticking up here, starts reclaiming levels, even the minor levels, I'm talking about the 12-hour levels, 12-hour dynamic, they're going to start closing. Closing shorts, guys, is buy pressure. Okay, when you close a short, you are buying back your Bitcoin. You're buying back whatever you sold. So that in itself is going to add more fuel to the fire.
Yep.
So I completely agree with the analysis in that if the bear C follows through, they got to see it right now.
Yep. If you take a look at the dashboard too, Krisha, you're going to see that we have red across the board, and it's literally just 2 or 3 coins that are green. And like, it's honestly just Bitcoin and Ethereum, because the third coin on the top of the list over here is ETH BTC, which is the Ethereum again, right? ETH kind of outperforming Bitcoin, and TRX as well, long. But I do want to also announce a brand new feature on the dashboard for you dashboard users. You guys are going to be very, very excited for what is to come, what has already come, and we are setting the foundations for something really, really powerful on this dashboard. If you guys go ahead and hit the drop down, you guys are going to see a new feature now here: support and resistance. Now, Bitcoin does not have any resistance because we are sitting at all-time highs, but I think you should see something for Ethereum. There you go. So Ethereum's support level. So now remember, this is going to be for the weekly time frame. Okay, so it's based on the highest time frame available on the dashboard, and the support level at the moment. Remember, guys, this is beta. Okay, so help us test it. Let us know if you see any issues, but so far it's looking really, really good. We're going to be tweaking it as we go, of course. Use this as a guide. Okay, use this as a guide. If you see price, for example, Ethereum is sitting at 2578, right? And resistance at the moment is sitting at 2627. So you now know that, okay, price is sitting kind of close to high time frame resistance. This is another way that the dashboard is going to make our lives so much easier, because now not only is it giving us a big full-on cursory view of the trend structure of the asset. And by the way, Ethereum is looking fantastic. Ben, you are absolutely effing right. Ben asked us to make sure that we take a look at Ethereum during the C Clubhouse session, and I'm kind of glad he did, because look at the volatility on this, Krisha. Holy crap. Long across all time frames, volatility is blue. We're sitting up against resistance. This is, yes, and this is where it helps, right? You're like, okay, wait, should I buy? Well, no, you're looking at price, 2578, and resistance is 2627. You're like $50 away from resistance. You can wait for the break, right? And we do have the structure for break, which is green across all the trends and blue volatility. This, guys, this is a quick way to literally say, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on Ethereum, note this down, move on to your next asset. One of the things that started overwhelming me around 2019, 2020 was the amount of coins that was getting built up on crypto. It was just becoming impossible to evaluate and find assets. Now, look at this. How do we find ETH? Okay. I'll be honest, I forgot what Ben asked for. We found ETH because we saw it on the dashboard. It was long and blue, right? That's what you look for. Long and blue if you're looking to be bullish. If, of course, you're looking to be bearish, it's the opposite. But that's how we found the theme. I don't need to do hard work. I don't need to go through all the charts and get my brain fried like how it used to be. Like, we've literally eliminated the stress out of this game for you guys. You guys just gotta do the last bit yourselves, right? Last bit yourselves. So yeah, Ethereum, Kusha, thoughts on this? Holy cow.
Ben says, let's go. I'm so ready for ETH to break. Honestly, I feel like everyone's ready for ETH to break. Let's see.
I want to talk about ETH, but before we do that, guys, I do want to talk about a few things. Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about this. I have to talk about this. It'll be foolish for me to not talk about this. We just close the monthly. And I want to reiterate this idea that I've been harping on since, like, here on Twitter, right? I've been saying there's always going to be a narrative, guys. A narrative to get you guys to sell too early, and a narrative to get you guys to hold on far too long, okay? Always. And that'll be the most painful mistake when you look back at your life. You'll realize that none of the narratives have mattered. All that mattered was whether your system was asking you to exit, or your system was telling you be patient, stay in position, right? That's all, right? Look at all these narratives throughout the past, like, what, freaking 6-7 years now. There's always been a narrative. We went through all. I listed these out for you guys live during a live stream. We had the J-Bow double tightening, global recession, the COVID crisis, Russia invading Ukraine, Israel invading Gaza, the trade war. This is when, during the trade war, right? I was building the position bi-weekly dynamic. That's when I drew this out for you guys. We were sitting on the bi-weekly dynamic, and we had the trade war going on. And people are like, Sean, how could you be buying? We have a trade war. I'm like, guys, we've always had a narrative. There's always been something, okay? And us following our system at Mango has always kept us on the right side, regardless of the narrative. Now, again, okay, I don't know what the narrative is. I've just literally stopped. I have too much going on to care about the narratives anymore, to a point where I don't even like use it for entertainment. But the monthly, guys, you can't let any narrative matter when you close monthly like this. It is just irresponsible as a technician, okay? It is irresponsible for you to ignore this. Now, you might be saying, but Sean, we did the same thing last cycle. Okay. I don't care. Even last cycle, it didn't matter. You should have been bullish here. I don't care that it dumped after. You had no right to be bearish there. Okay. We don't try to call tops. We don't try to call bottoms. Just because you may have gotten it right over here doesn't mean it was the right thing to do, guys. Okay. You could have performed an action and things could have turned out extremely well. That does not make it the right thing to do in the long term. Okay, you had no business to be bearish here. At Mango, we turned bearish somewhere around here when we lost monthly 10 SMA, etc., right? And that was an objective way to do it. Unless you had an objective way, okay, where a system, all your flags turned off, or rather triggered, saying momentum is at so and so level, equilibrium so level, maybe, okay, using momentum in indicators, etc. Okay, that's fine, but you can't look at this and look at that and say it's the same thing. By the way, I don't think it's the same thing, because I'm pretty sure let's go look at the oscillators. Yeah, we had momentum divergence over here, where we are seeing a high and then a lower high. Over here, you're not seeing that. I guess you could say there is divergence in a different way. Yeah, I still wouldn't do it. I just still wouldn't do it. You guys can if you want to, but I don't think it's appropriate. I think that this is a strong monthly candle close, and we took out the previous monthly high as well. The way I trade this as a trend trader is that's strength. As a trend trader, I do not like to call tops. I like to look for structure. Like, let's say we do something like this, right? Put in thingy, lose like the 4-day dynamic, come up, retest it. I'll be like, okay, this is looking weak. And then we lose the bi-weekly dynamic. That will probably come up somewhere around here as well at the same time. Okay, cool. We lost a 4-day as well as the bi-weekly. Our systems are triggering. That's when I get bearish. We lose a little bit, 20%, 30%, maybe more. I'm okay with that. But you have no right to get bearish over here. Stay bullish, in my opinion. It's uncomfortable, and uncomfort leads to profit. So that's what I'm doing. Even my trades are not comfortable, but they've been profitable. They've been boring as hell. And let's go talk about ETH now. ETH USD. Kusha, thoughts?
No, I'm just listening to you as we go. They've been hearing my thoughts. I've been doing the daily videos, so they've been hearing my thoughts already.
I'll take some questions.
I'm glad that this is, yeah.
Sugar Crypto says, my friends were getting paid in crypto when it was hovering around 16K. He said he sold not too long ago when Bitcoin hit 100. Good stuff, man. Congratulations to your friend. Yeah, passions.
Yeah, anyone who gets those kind of wins, completely like well deserved, you know, to be collecting your income in Bitcoin, because you have to have a certain sort of like I mentioned, like oppressions, like foreknowledge, or just, you know, have that sort of conviction. So anyone who has that conviction and stuck to their guns, I think that's a well deserved win. So that's awesome.
So Ethereum is setting up for something big, provided it can break out of this range. Like, you want to see Ethereum make new highs, you could kind of look at this level over here, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and
there's a daily bull flag. Tell me if you spot it. I mean, it's forming. It's not like broken out or anything.
So let's say we draw this trend line like this, okay, and we have the flat structure over here too. I'm wondering where I drew the zone in from. Measured move of the longer. Here's measured move of the longer range. Okay, so guys, these are like levels and zones I've drawn in from like 2-3 years ago, right? So I don't like removing levels because they tend to be pertinent or relevant even for later price action. So we're gonna test that out now in the coming months to see whether Ethereum can break past these levels and respect those levels. But building a position here might seem counterintuitive because you're so close up against resistance, but getting your first position over here has been one of the winning strategies on the breakouts, because then you get a huge move and it's easier to buy here, right? Even though candle hasn't closed, because you bought here when the candle did close, and then you buy here as soon as you get like a lower time frame candle close above the level. So that's what I'd be looking for, because alternatively you can buy at this level here, right? Ethereum's not easy to play on the USD chart. On the daily, you're saying bull flag, Kushal? Let's go see it now. This is a bull flag? Kinda, yeah. It's like almost.
It's struggling at the apex. Like it needs to rally here.
This is the kind of structure that breaks both directions. It's going to end up doing something like this. It's going to break up and then break down and then do this and then go up. How often have you seen that?
Yeah. Every time it gets close to the apex, right? This seems to be like a crypto classic. It gets close to the apex and it sort of knocks out the shorts and the longs, and only after it does that does it really pick a direction.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is the juncture where you got to be careful. When it gets too close to the apex, just be a tad bit careful.
Let's look at BTC.
And then we can look at Bitcoin dominance right after, Sean, if you're down.
Yes. In fact, BTC in a way is kind of like a proxy of Bitcoin dominance, right? So again, with Bitcoin dominance, guys, we've been keeping it very simple over here at Mango. As long as the monthly wants to do this, go up in a straight line, we just stay 90 to 95% in Bitcoin. It's very, very simple. Very, very simple. You want to keep your position sizes, you want to have a small allocation to strong coins, not a strong allocation to all coins, right? Something we discussed in the most recent Seed Clubhouse session. Right, you want to have a small allocation to strong coins, and you'll be surprised to see how those small allocations double and triple in size, because they're strong coins, right? And if they're not strong, you don't want to touch it, and you don't want to have a strong allocation to all coins in general, right? Because Bitcoin dominance is doing this, right? This has protected us while everyone else in the space has been trying to be a genius and trying to be smart. Mango has just said it. We're not trying to call a top. We're not trying to call a bottom. We're just going to stay in the direction of the trend, and we're going to wait. We may end up missing the first candle, right? That's fine, right? We don't need to catch the bottom or the top, but we'll continue to keep it easy, stress-free, and make a lot of money, right? That's what we want to do. We're not trying to be smart, trying to make money, okay? And you guys should get that in your heads as well. Don't try to be smart. Bitcoin dominance is telling you stay in Bitcoin. I like we went through. Let's do it, okay? Kushal, let's go through the time frames one by one, okay? And just tell me whether Bitcoin dominance's trend is showing weakness or not. People are going to look at these monthly candles and say, "Hey, this is the first top signal. I'm a candlestick analysis expert, analyzer, and based on that, I'm telling you this is the top." You know what? They might be right, but it's not enough information for me. They could have said that here. They could have said that here. They could have said that here. They were saying that. And all junctures, you can't. It's not enough information. Bi-weekly. Okay, we're just gonna turn off all the horizontals. Is this looking bearish to you guys?
Bullish.
Like bullish. at least wait for the buy. Like this is telling you to start bidding. Like every time, by the way, like if you use this new Mango dynamic, you'll see that each time it's coming down to this level, it's not telling you guys get excited for all coins. It's telling you guys to use those opportunities to exit your all coins. It's literally telling you, hey, sell into Bitcoin. Take those altcoins and sell into Bitcoin. That's what it's telling you. It's not telling you to buy more alts. Wait for the bi-weekly at least to break hell. Okay, let's look at the weekly. Bullish or bearish?
Uptrend, bullish.
Okay, let's look at the 4-day. Are we above the dynamic or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 3-day.
Yes, sirree.
3-day. The 2-day. Hell, even the daily has been reclaimed. 12 hour, even the 12 hour, guys. Like, so in general, what this is telling you guys is that if you pick an altcoin, the probability is against you, right? Once this actually starts trending down on at least the weekly and the bi-weekly, right? That's when the probability flips. That's when you'll be saying, hey, you know what? I could pick an altcoin and the probability is that it outperforms Bitcoin. That's when you want to be in altcoins, right? How about this? That's when you won't have a strong allocation across your portfolio on altcoins. For now, you want to have a small allocation in strong coins, not a strong allocation in all coins, right? Small allocation in strong coins. That's what you guys want to do for now, right? A good example was SUI, but it lost a 2-day, right? And I'm following a very simple rule-based system. Lost a 2-day. So now, when an asset loses its trend on that particular time frame, I look at that as the time frame it's consolidating against if I'm still bullish on the asset, and I look towards a high time frame. So either the 4-day or the bi-weekly, right? I think I'm just going to stick to the bi-weekly. I may go down to the 4-day. Like the 4-day is still kind of holding. It is holding actually. Yeah, it's holding. But I'm just going to stick to the bi-weekly. So SUI, now you play it on the high time frames, right? You don't need to rush into this. You can go slow, build the position. You have a lot of time. You could wait for it to come down even lower if you want. No need to rush. Let's look at a coin that I've been trading recently, always since somewhere around here. So look at how so seamlessly, right, a strong coin can make its way all the way up to the top of the range resistance level and just give you a 2x so quickly.
Yeah. These are the best kind of charts, eh? The ones that move up so gradually, they're literally moving 2x, 3x. Nobody notices them because when do we really notice coins? When the volatility picks up and it's on everyone's radar. It's the volatility that gets a certain coin on people's radars. But there are some coins that move up in like they just inch up, just every day a little, just very, very gradually. And in those daily moves, they've already sort of done a good 2-3x. And only then does it really have the volatile move. And it's the volatility that really is the beacon, right? The volatility gets people to, oh, what is that coin? Whoa, dude, it pumped 50%. Pumped 100% today. What is this coin? You get onto the chart and you then look at this coin and you notice that, no, it's been pumping. It's actually not done only 100%. It's up a good 5x from the bottom, right? But people only find it when the volatility is picked up. So right now I feel like Sean is right in that he's like what is it again? Small positions and strong coins.
Yep,
so
exactly.
there are strong coins out there. You guys just need to do the work. I'll put it that way. There's work to be done this bull run. That rhymed. But I feel like if you do the work, there are gems to be found.
And a really good example of someone doing the work is Wolvie, and from Mango Seed, like he's been like he's been killing it, right? And it's not come through luck. We've all seen his hard work. And he's been killing it over the past 2 months. So
yeah, if you guys don't have the time, find someone who's already in sync with the markets. That's a hack, by the way. Just find someone who's in sync with the markets. And they're just they got the right calls, because you're better off sort of sifting through the coins through those people because they're in sync.
Yeah, we don't want to.
Now Sean has been sync with the cycle. Yeah, Sean props on being in sync with the cycle so far. So it's been on
mainly with Bitcoin though.
I mean, it's the winner though. This bull run. I mean, look at Bitcoin dominance. It's the biggest winner of this bull run. Sean caught Bitcoin at 17K. He told you guys at 18 down to 17. He posted on Twitter. He pinned the Twitter post as well. So it's been a great cycle so far. It's been a great cycle, but also not the easiest cycle because it sort of broke all signatures, right? So that's that. I
mean,
so we went off.
Let's be honest, Kushal. Like at 19K, 20K, you and I had like we were doing these duo streams, and the one you were saying this back then too about we were talking about signatures, right? And the one thing I said was like the one thing Bitcoin has done throughout all cycles, the one signature Bitcoin has held, is that it breaks all signatures. Right, so it always breaks signatures. That's its trademark. That's how I came up with the thesis that it's like at around 19-20K, if you guys remember, Mark is here too, Ben is here. You guys remember 19-20K, I said that we're going to hit all-time high before the halving. And everyone thought I was nuts. I actually got hate on my YouTube comments as well. But that was the thesis, that we were going to hit all-time high before the halving, right? Because the loudest narrative at the time was that Bitcoin was only going to hit all-time high after the halving, right? Now, I don't just counter trade sentiment. The TA was pointing towards too. We had strong technical analysis on Ichimoku theory pointing towards a potential move towards all-time high before the halving. So Bitcoin will constantly break the loudest signature that everyone's talking about. Just count on that, guys. Just count on that. By the way, guys, this is an example here on SPX of what I talked about in regards to Ethereum, where you have a flat and then you can bid leading into the diagonal, right? So you can mark it out like a triangle kind of thing like this between the flat and the diagonal. This has been a winning strategy. We've talked about that. I marked this out in Seed actually. Like while this was happening, in Seed I marked this out and I sent you guys this trade setup, right? And this is what I was talking about. See how well it played out. You don't need to buy. You don't need to wait for the break of the level. You can buy leading into the level. If there's a diagonal, you can draw out on lower time frames. And yeah. So now if you guys are in this trade with me, this zone over here, like we said, we do not want to be buying anywhere close to the zone. We could wait for 1.5 to break before you can look to add. And I think we can wrap
can
up
we
here.
Can we cover XRP quickly?
Oh yeah, we should. So XRP, in my opinion, should be traded on the bi-weekly. And if you're trading on the lower time frames, you do the daily Ichimoku, right? So XRP has a big wide zone. That's it. As long as it's above the bi-weekly dynamic, I think it's fine. I'm kind of not liking the price action over here, but again, when you take the entire market into context, it's not all that bad. But you can't sleep on XRP because you don't know when it's going to suddenly give you that big green candle. I'd like to buy it closer to like. So another thing you guys can do, right, with this new feature in the Mango Dynamic is ask yourself, how bullish am I on this asset? How badly do I want this position? If you want a position or you're under allocated on a position, you really want that position, and price has now come down to the start bidding level, right? You want to start scaling in. But let's say you're not that bullish. Okay, you're not that bullish. And Cardano is a good example of this. But let's say you're not that bullish on the asset, but you kind of want exposure because it tends to do really well. Or two, it comes down low enough now where you're like, okay, now at this point, I have to buy. Okay, it's gotten too good, right? That's where this really comes in. You can say, you know what, I'm not gonna buy at the start bidding zone. I like XRP only close to the dynamic. Or you could say you could go one step further, and you could say, you know what, I'm not a big fan at all of this asset, okay, right? Or you could say, I have a lot of XRP, and I don't want any more. I think I have way too much already. I'm too bullish, so I'm not going to buy at the start bidding zone or at the Mango Dynamic level, the core level. What I'm going to instead do is wait for it to come down to the end bidding. I'm going to wait for it to come all the way down there, and I'm going to buy only there. And then I'm going to wait to see if it closes above the Mango Dynamic. Okay, so you're going to want a situation like this, guys, where you see a wick down and a close above, and you'll be happy. Okay, so you've reduced your risk if it doesn't, and two, you're also increasing your profit chances, right? So you're using your lack of impatience to your advantage with this indicator, right? Because it's giving you an objective level to wait for underneath your invalidation level, right? So even though your invalidation levels are over here, you're okay with price coming all the way down here. You'll bid that, and then you'll wait for price to close above. Does that make sense? Right? Note that down, guys. Note that down.
Beautiful. I like this. I like it when you guys get Sean's thoughts on XRP as well, because you guys are often just isolated to mine. So this helps me as well. And I'm always going to tell you guys, start getting like your, at Mango, even with the seedlings, the grove, we always tell you guys, speak to each other to be each other's bias checkers. It's very good to have a bias check. Sean is my bias check for the XRP trade. So this helps me too tremendously. So yeah, always find someone to bias check you at any given point.
Yeah.
Sure, Crypto says we all need to buy through this month. July hits this. It's going to be the biggest liquidation of shorts. Yeah, I think if we see rallies here, I think we're going to see some crazy liquidations across, especially the altcoins. Okay, I think we can wrap, Sean.
Yeah, I'm tired. Holy, been a long day.
Thank you all for tuning in. 116 votes on the poll. I asked, what do you think? Markets go up or markets go down? This was close, you guys. What the hell? So 58% of you said markets go up. 42% of you said markets go down. I mean, it's a pretty like even split, almost even, but yeah. I mean, you this will give you a relatively good sort of gauge on sentiment. So people are still everyone's on the fence, and it's crazy. What I want you guys to consider is that people are on the fence while Bitcoin is currently still sitting over $100,000. It cannot get better than this. And I was telling Sean, I'm like, this is the perfect setup. If things have to start picking up from here, I'd rather pick up from a 100K than picking up from 70K.
The sentiment at okay, look at this, guys. Bitcoin is sitting at all-time highs, and just think about the sentiment. It doesn't get. This is, yeah. Maybe we break down, but for a continuation setup, like I want you guys to even think about the sentiment over here and the sentiment over here. Does that match? If that matched, then you can probably use this price action, because at the end of the day, price action is a reflection of behavior, right? And in hindsight, when you guys, if let's say we see a big candle up, people are going to say, oh yeah, of course, sentiment was completely different between here and here. But the moment, while things are playing out, people are drawing parallels to the price action, even though sentiment could not be any different. Like over here, we were extremely bullish, right? We were like, let's go, 100,000 is coming up. Oh, you're just like, all right, cool. Who cares? 100,000, we're here. Doesn't matter. It's kind of ironic, same structure, and we're actually at 100K and no one cares now. Oh, and guys, remember, the Bitunix giveaway is still running every live stream, but you guys got to hit that like button and do at least a $50 deposit into the account. And it also stacks, by the way, with the base deposit bonus that you guys do have access to. So if you guys are a new account, you guys and deposit $2,000, you'll get the $400 Bitunix deposit, and on top of that, you also have a chance of winning the $1,000 trading bonus from Mango as well. So in total, you get around $1,400, and add that to your trading rewards, maybe it goes up even more, right? So that's free margin, right? To add to your trade, increase your size or even buffer against losses. So this is honestly, these kind of deals that you guys are not going to get a few years down the road. Like this is, I don't even know whether we'll have these kind of deals the next cycle. So take advantage of it while you can. I think we can wrap up here, Kusha.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Steve. And yeah, we'll now see you in the Discord chat. If you're not already on there, what are you doing? The mangoway.com/Discord is where you're going to find us. So yeah, jump in and we will now see you guys there. With this, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the Mango way, trade the easy way.
Ciao.
Ciao, you guys.